Hello guys, sorry for the wait. I was not able to post any videos for a while because I was away with family, but now I'm fully back at your service. So in today's video I will be giving you guys my best predictions of game week 23 of the English Premier League. Always remember to bet responsibly and choose the picks you agree with. So without wasting any much time, let us go get this money. The Premier League is back in action with another set of matches this weekend, as Nottingham Forest take on Andoni Iraol's Bournemouth side in a crucial encounter at the Vitality Stadium on Saturday. Both teams have stepped up to the plate this season and will want to win this game. Which team will extend their unbeaten streak? Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest are the main revelations of the English Premier League. The Cherries are vying for European competition for the first time in their history, while the Foresters might even return to the Champions League. Therefore, this clash will be one of the highlights of the 23rd round. Nottingham Forest are in third place in the Premier League standings and have been in excellent form this season. The away side edged Southampton to a narrow 3-2 victory last week and will be confident ahead of this fixture. Bournemouth, on the other hand, are in 7th place in the league table and have been impressive over the past year. The Cherries stunned Newcastle United with a 4-1 victory in their previous game and will look to achieve a similar scoreline this weekend. Bournemouth has an advantage in corners this season, 6.4 compared to 4.2. If we consider only home matches, this figure increases, 6.8. Nottingham Forest typically plays defensively. Therefore, game initiative will come from the hosts. So my pick is Bournemouth team total over 5.5 corner kicks. Brighton and Hove Albion play host to Everton in a Premier League game at the Amex Stadium this Saturday. Brighton are currently sitting in 9th place in the Premier League table, while Everton are substantially lower in 16th. With both sides coming off big wins, though, this could be a hard game to pick. So, who will take the spoils on the South Coast this weekend? Before last weekend, Brighton would have been favored heavily to pull off a win here. Everton seemed utterly toothless in front of goal and devoid of any kind of confidence. However, David Moyes' side were genuinely excellent against Tottenham, particularly in the first half, and the veteran boss will hope that the match can be looked back on as a turning point. Will they win here? In all honesty, that's doubtful, as Brighton have plenty of firepower and are in better form than Spurs were, and also have the home advantage. Based on the improvements that Everton showed last weekend, though, there's definitely a strong possibility that this one ends in another draw. Brighton lost quite a few points in winter, especially when it was least expected from them. Yes, now the Seagulls have gained momentum, but the Toffees are also inspired after their victory over Tottenham. We tend to think that the visitors will not leave empty-handed and will manage to score, as Brighton concedes regularly. Based on this, my prediction is both teams to score, yes. Will Ipswich Town suffer a second consecutive thrashing? The EPL schedule has thrown the Tractor Boys a very tough challenge. In the last round, they played against the reigning champions of England, and in this one, they are likely to face the future ones. One of the underdogs faces a daunting trip to Anfield. The bookmakers' odds suggest total dominance by Liverpool, which we will consider in our prediction. Liverpool hold a 6-point lead at the top of the Premier League table. It took them 2 late Darwin Núñez strikes to put an unrelenting Brentford to the sword. Meanwhile, Ipswich Town bore the brunt of Manchester City's resurgence after a dreaded slump halfway through the season. City were merciless as they put 6 goals past the Tractor Boys without response. It marked a second successive home defeat for Kieran McKenna's side and saw them move back into the relegation zone. But the Tractor Boys are a much better side away from home and will look to bank on their credit on the road to pose some problems for the Premier League leaders on Saturday. In all likelihood, the Tractor Boys should do well to avoid being blown to smithereens by the Merseysiders. Despite their decent record on the road, it wouldn't be prudent to put your money on McKenna's men against Liverpool given how they were torn apart by Manchester City last weekend. Ipswich will try very hard to pocket Liverpool, and this may result to lots of corner kicks. So my prediction is match total over 9.5 corners. Southampton will lock horns with Eddie Howe's Newcastle United side in an important clash at the St. Mary's Stadium on Saturday. The two teams have experienced contrasting fortunes this season and will be determined to win this game. Newcastle United are in 6th place in the Premier League standings and have been in impressive form this season. The away side slumped to a damaging 4-1 defeat at the hands of Bournemouth last week and will need to bounce back in this fixture. Southampton, on the other hand, are rooted to the bottom of the league table and have struggled this season. The Saints suffered a narrow 3-2 defeat against Nottingham Forest in their previous game and have a point to prove this weekend. Newcastle United have a good squad at their disposal but were well below their best against Bournemouth last week. Alexander Isak has been prolific for his side and will look to add to his goal tally on Saturday. Southampton gave a good account of themselves against Nottingham Forest but have largely been abysmal in the top flight this season. Newcastle United are the better team and should be able to win this game. So I'm going to go for a 1-3 Newcastle win and my betting tip is total over 2.5 goals. Wolverhampton Wanderers will lock horns with Mikel Arteta's Arsenal side in an important encounter at the Molineux Stadium on Saturday. The two teams have experienced contrasting fortunes this season and will want to win this game. Wolverhampton Wanderers are currently in 17th place in the Premier League standings and have struggled to make an impact this season. The home side suffered a comprehensive 3-1 defeat at the hands of Chelsea and will look to avoid another poor result on Saturday. Arsenal, on the other hand, are in 2nd place in the league table at the moment and have stepped up to the plate this season. The Gunners eased past Dinamo Zagreb by a 3-0 margin in the UEFA Champions League in their previous game and will look to achieve a similar scoreline this weekend. Arsenal have an impressive squad at their disposal and will need to work hard to catch up with Liverpool in the Premier League title race. Kai Havertz and Martin Odegaard have been impressive in recent weeks and will need to be at their best on Saturday. Wolverhampton Wanderers have a poor recent record in this fixture and will need to play out of their skins this weekend. Arsenal are the better team on paper and should be able to win this game. I don't want to complicate things, so I'm just going to go for Arsenal to win at full time. The Premier League features a clash between two massive sides this weekend as Chelsea lock horns with Pep Guardiola's Manchester City side in an important encounter at the Etihad Stadium on Saturday. Both teams have good players in their ranks and will want to win this game. Chelsea are currently in 4th place in the Premier League standings and have been fairly impressive so far this season. The Blues eased past Wolverhampton Wanderers by a 3-1 margin in their previous game and will look to achieve a similar result this weekend. Manchester City, on the other hand, are in 5th place in the league table at the moment and have not been at their best in recent months. The home side slumped to a 4-2 defeat at the hands of PSG in the UEFA Champions League this week and will need to bounce back in this fixture. Manchester City have shown signs of resurgence in recent weeks but will need to play out of their skins to get back into the title race. The Citizens were outplayed by PSG in their previous game and have a point to prove this weekend. Chelsea have stuttered in recent weeks and will need to be at their best against a formidable opponent. Both teams have issues to address at the moment and could play out a draw in this fixture. While City has slumped in results, they maintain their standard when it comes to corners, being the most corner-taking team in the league, an average of 7.91 corners per game. Guardiola's team has delivered at least 5 corner kicks in 5 consecutive matches and in their last 5 head-to-head encounters with Chelsea in the EPL. So my pick is total over 4.5 corners by the hosts. Brentford will lock horns with Crystal Palace in an important encounter at Selhurst Park on Sunday. Both teams have been inconsistent so far this season and will want to win this game. Brentford are currently in 11th place in the Premier League standings and have been fairly impressive so far this season. The away side slumped to a 2-0 defeat at the hands of Liverpool last week and will need to bounce back in this fixture. Crystal Palace, on the other hand, are in 12th place in the league table at the moment and have been inconsistent this season. The Eagles defeated West Ham United by a 2-0 margin in their previous game and will look to achieve a similar result this weekend. Crystal Palace have a good squad at their disposal and will be intent on making their mark in this fixture. Jean-Philippe Mateta scored an impressive brace against West Ham United and will look to repeat the feat this weekend. Brentford have been resurgent in recent weeks but have several defensive issues to address ahead of this game. Crystal Palace are the better team at the moment and should be able to win this game. So my predictions for this game is a draw or both teams to score, yes. Leicester City take on Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham Hotspur side in an important encounter at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday. Both teams have been in poor form this season and will want to win this game. Leicester City are currently in 19th place in the Premier League standings and have been in dismal form so far this season. The Foxes slumped to a 2-0 defeat at the hands of Fulham in their previous game and have a point to prove this weekend. Tottenham Hotspur, on the other hand, are in 15th place in the league table at the moment and have been shockingly ineffective in recent months. The North London outfit edged TSG Hoffenheim to a crucial 3-2 victory in the UEFA Europa League this week and will be confident ahead of this fixture. Tottenham Hotspur have struggled so far this season and are in desperate need of a resurgence in the Premier League. The hosts have been consistently outplayed this season and cannot afford another debacle in this fixture. Leicester City have failed to make an impact this season and will need to work hard to keep their place in the top flight. Tottenham Hotspur are the better team on paper and should be able to win this game. Tottenham average a large number of corners and this game should not be an exception. So my betting tip is Tottenham team total over 6.5 corners. West Ham United will lock horns with Unai Emery's Aston Villa side in an important encounter at Villa Park on Sunday. Both teams have good players in their ranks and will want to win this game. West Ham United are currently in 14th place in the Premier League standings and have not been at their best so far this season. The Hammers slumped to a damaging 2-0 defeat at the hands of Crystal Palace in their previous game and have a point to prove this weekend. Aston Villa, on the other hand, are in 8th place in the league table at the moment and have been inconsistent over the past year. The home side suffered a narrow 1-0 defeat against AS Monaco in the UEFA Champions League this week and will need to bounce back in this match. Aston Villa have flattered to deceive this season but will back themselves ahead of an important game. The hosts were wasteful against AS Monaco in their European fixture and will need to be more clinical this weekend. West Ham United have been in poor form this season and will need to be at their best in this match. Aston Villa are the better team at the moment and should be able to win this game. But for my prediction, I will be going for West Ham team total over 3.5 corner kicks. Banger pick. Manchester United will be looking for revenge after last weekend's embarrassing 3-1 defeat to Brighton at Old Trafford as they travel to West London to take on Fulham. Ruben Amorim's side were unable to build on their 3-1 win over Southampton a fortnight ago as they were completely outplayed against Brighton last weekend. It was their 4th defeat in their last 6 Premier League games and they have won just once away from home in their last 8 matches. The home side go into this game in a much better position, having lost just one of their last 10 Premier League games in the last 2 months. They are also unbeaten in their last 5 league games at home, although they have only won one of them. Both Fulham and Manchester United are capable of scoring and conceding goals as evident by the scorelines. The away side have failed to keep a clean sheet in 13 consecutive matches and both teams have scored in their last 5 matches as well. Fulham have been also following a similar trend, with both teams scoring in 5 of their last 6 games. For this reason, my prediction will be total over 2.5 goals.